Christine Pitawanich with your weekly recap, where we'll be catching you up on some of the biggest stories of the week. We begin with our top story. The families of the 11 people killed at the Nippon Dynawave paper mill in Longview have officially learned how their loved ones lost their lives. The Cowlitz County coroner officially listed the cause of death in all cases as alkaline chemical burns. 2 people also had asphyxia and blunt force injuries as contributing factors. The burns are consistent with exposure to something called white liquor, the solution inside the tank that ruptured.
Because this is above ground, because this is white liquor, it really falls in a more regulatorily gray space where they don't have those kind of increased process safety management regulations. They don't have Department of Ecology.
Decontamination efforts at the plant, which is largely closed, are still underway. Long-term cleanup will include removing what's left of the tank. To another really tough story, a man pleaded not guilty Thursday to killing his girlfriend's 2-year-old daughter. A warning, some of the details here are disturbing. It happened at Blue Lake Park in Fairview last year, but detectives arrested 38-year-old Dyson Ruda this week. According to court records, when police arrived at the park last year, Ruda first told them the girl had choked on rice, then later said she'd fallen from a playground slide. Doctors found evidence of a brain injury and significant bruising, saying the injuries didn't match Ruda's story. The medical examiner ruled the death a homicide. Ruda is now charged with second-degree murder, assault, and criminal mistreatment. Meantime, in Tanzania, authorities there have ruled the death of a Portland area content creator a suicide. In April, 31-year-old Ashley Robinson, who went by Ashley Janae on social media, was found unconscious in her villa at a luxury resort in Zanzibar. She was taken to the hospital, where she later died. She'd traveled to Tanzania with her fiancé, Joseph McCann, to celebrate her 31st birthday. McCann had proposed days before her death. Authorities say the two had some sort of disagreement that resulted in them being put in separate hotel rooms. McCann told TMZ that he found Robinson the following day. And according to TMZ, investigators questioned him, but was not arrested or charged with a crime. Robinson's family has rejected the suicide ruling, saying that she showed no signs of wanting to harm herself. A note that if you or someone you know is struggling and needs support, help is always available. Just call or text the number on your screen, that is 988, to reach the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Closer to home in North Portland, 4 abandoned homes have become a major headache for one neighborhood. We're talking about squatters, violence, break-ins, and fires. Blair Best went to take a look.
In North Portland's Arbor Lodge neighborhood,
we're trying to make a community. This community's old. It's been around forever.
A community is being tested by 4 abandoned homes overrun with squatters on North Maryland Avenue.
A company bought them out, and they have been abandoned ever since then.
In 2023, Portland-based Seneca Development Company purchased the properties with plans to build a 5-story apartment complex by 2025. It's now 1 year past that deadline, and neighbors say the only movement on the sites are the homeless people breaking in.
So I had to put cameras on my house, security signs on my house, alarm systems in my house.
A lot of violent activity too, like yelling and screaming in the middle of the night, a lot of police activity.
Yeah, and they do use that trash room as like a bathroom. Yeah, which that is a lot.
On Tuesday, Portland police removed someone from one of the homes. Police arrested another person for trespassing last week. This video shows one of the homes catching fire back in February. Police say it was human-caused.
Yeah, I mean, we empathize entirely with all the neighbors.
Michael Hamilton is the president of Seneca Development Company. He says they've spent about $75,000 securing the properties and weekly sweeps.
Even with that, there's still a ton of headaches that we deal with. I wish I could say I'm really frustrated, but I can't imagine how frustrated the neighbors are that live there every day.
Well, I feel abandoned. I feel hopeless.
Hamilton says high interest rates, President Trump's tariffs, and city fees forced Seneca to pause the development project.
But then we kicked it back off when the city passed their SDC waiver.
SDCs, or System Development Charges, are fees developers pay the city to cover the cost of expanding infrastructure to accommodate new buildings. Last spring, Portland temporarily waived those fees to boost housing construction, saving this project about $1.6 million.
It's the only way a project like this moves forward in today's environment. It's the single largest cost in a project that isn't the construction itself.
The project now in the city's hands.
So as soon as we have a building permit approved, we can start construction on the project.
A timeline some neighbors won't wait for.
And a couple other houses around here, the tenants are moving because they're scared. We need to take care of our neighborhoods.
Blair Best, KGW News.
Now to Washington, where there was an update on that school sex assault case. This week, Longview School District Superintendent Karen Cloninger pleaded not guilty in court to charges related to sexual assault allegations at Mark Morris High. Cloninger is accused of tampering with a witness, failing to report, and obstructing a law enforcement officer after multiple students at the school said they were sexually assaulted by their older teammates on the boys' basketball team. Investigators say Cloninger tried to downplay the incident and told the school's principal to, quote, squash the situation. Cloninger was arrested in May, and earlier this week, she was placed on unpaid leave. And do you remember this crazy video from 2024? It shows a bull, there you see him, named Party Bus, jumping into the crowd at the Sisters Rodeo. 2 people ended up getting trampled, and now they are suing the rodeo and its contractor, claiming they should have done more to prevent this from happening. We're talking about 2 lawsuits here. The first is a more than $9 million suit where Bend resident Allison Hickey says the bull knocked her to the ground, crushing her right shoulder and right calf. In a statement from her attorney, she wrote in part, quote, I am bringing this lawsuit not only for myself, but to help ensure no one else, certainly no child or elderly person who may have stood in my place, has to endure what I have. The rodeo contractor who provided the rodeo stock, including Party Bus, denies the allegations and the liability. A second suit, filed by Ridgefield residents Kristen and Andrew Wirt, claims Kristen was violently attacked by the bull from behind, bucked into the air, and trampled. They want more than $2 million in that suit. And did you hear about the new PGE rates that were supposed to take effect this week? Well, they hiked rates for data centers, reminder here, but gave small decreases for the rest of us. They are now paused for about a month. The Oregon Public Utility Commission, that's the government agency regulating rates and services, voted on Tuesday to put things on hold. Analysts apparently need more time to dot the I's, cross the T's. The plan would raise data center power rates by 29%, but other customers like us would see rates go down between 1% and 4%. So why is this all happening? Well, it's in response to the Power Act passed last year. It's meant to ensure large energy users like data centers pay their fair share for electricity. A decision on PGE's new rate plan is expected July 7th. And speaking of data centers, no final decisions were made at the Hillsborough City Council meeting Tuesday, but city leaders are considering a pause on new data centers there. Last week, residents gave councilors an earful of criticism over data center tax breaks. Then this week, councilors asked city staff to explore what a temporary halt on new data centers would look like, while a state moratorium is in effect, preventing data center tax breaks for the next year.
The moratorium is temporary. But it could get us time to be able to be thoughtful about the development code that we're making. And it would be both. We wouldn't do a moratorium without also pursuing a development code amendment because we are required to show that we're working towards a long-term solution as a part of the moratorium.
Now, both options would temporarily pause data center projects while city leaders continue looking at how to manage future growth. At this point, no timeline yet for when that information will all be brought back to the council. A Portland tiny home company is under investigation after KGW exposed how the company was taking large deposits and failing to deliver. Tiny Heirloom customers and current as well as former employees said the company has exploited people for years. They just didn't know it was widespread until we picked up the story. By the way, that company was also evicted from its offices for failing to pay rent. Investigative reporter Evan Watson has the story.
What used to be a construction yard full of tiny home projects and builds now sits empty, a vacant space and warehouse viewed from Marine Drive in Northeast Portland. Tiny Heirloom, a Portland tiny home company, has been evicted from its building for failing to pay rent. Court filings show an outstanding debt of more than $150,000 in rent payments. It's welcome news for Keith Krenz, a former Tiny Heirloom customer.
We were dancing and singing. It's a long time coming. I think that's collectively good news for all of us.
KGW previously talked with Krenz in February. He and his wife had paid $142,000 for a tiny home in 2023 that didn't arrive. After filing a lawsuit, they reached a deal to receive a partially built home earlier this year.
The longer it went on and the wilder the excuses got and the more excuses there were.
Now the Oregon Department of Justice says it's actively investigating Tiny Heirloom after receiving multiple consumer complaints.
Hopefully we'll shut them down and at least not let them operate in the state of Oregon.
Tiny Heirloom co-owner Jeremy Killian previously told KGW that the company planned to own up to its mistakes and resolve all outstanding builds and legal settlements by the end of March. In February, he said that target remained achievable. Killian did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the eviction or DOJ investigation on Tuesday. It's not clear if the business is still operating from a different location. Evan Watson, KGW News.
Again, the company's owners previously promised to make good on its debts and deliver all homes by this spring. That deadline has passed. The DOJ said the agency can't share any more details about the state investigation. Okay, let's talk elections for a moment because the U.S. Postal Service is proposing new rules requiring states to give the agency a list of eligible voters or risk losing USPS delivery for mail-in ballots. The agency says the step is required to comply with an executive order issued by President Trump earlier this year. That order is currently held up in court after Oregon's Attorney General, as well as 22 other states, sued. The Postal Service says under their proposal, states would still retain full control of who goes on the voter list. Opponents of the proposal say they're against any extra control by the federal government when it comes to elections.
We hope to have a ruling from this court here sometime this summer that will let the president know that he does not get to be a gatekeeper between United States citizens, Oregonians, and their ballots.
The head of Multnomah County Elections told us they are watching and waiting as the legal battle plays out. Wildfire season ramping up at this point, and now nearly half of Oregon's counties are now officially under a drought emergency. The governor added 5 more counties to the state's drought declaration this week. They now include Douglas, Gillum, Harney, Lake, and Malheur counties. The governor's order allows state agencies to prioritize help and to provide emergency tools to communities that are impacted. Meantime, Oregon is boosting its wildfire response toolkit with some new high-tech help in the sky. It is a twin otter that replaces a 40-plus-year-old observation plane. This one features advanced thermal imaging, AI-enabled mapping, and also can fly at night. All of that giving crews a clearer picture of fire behavior in real time.
It's all about time, right? It's the faster we can get to a fire, the smaller it likely is, the easier it is to get it put out, and you move on to the next one. And this plane, being able to say, here's your fire, here's exactly where it is, and then be able to pull that up into our on-the-ground software and go, all right, here's how I get to it, minimizes that time to the initial attack.
Yeah, seconds and minutes matter. Oregon's Department of Forestry says this plane will also be used for weather monitoring. And if you're outdoorsy, heads up, Multnomah County health officials are warning about an increase in tick activity. Historically, the tiny bugs have not been much of a problem in western Oregon and Washington, mainly because of the wet, cooler climate. But drier, hotter conditions are changing things. Officials say they're seeing more reports in several spots this spring, including Powell Butte. The ticks are most commonly found in taller, grassy areas that get plenty of sun. So if you're going to be out in an area like that, consider tucking your pants into your socks and wearing closed-toe shoes as well as insect repellent. Then, when you get home, be sure to do a tick check on you and your pets.
If it's attached to you, we ask that you don't just pull on it directly, because when you do that, you can accidentally remove the head, and that can get stuck in your skin and it can cause secondary infection. When you also pull on them like that, it can cause them to regurgitate and actually push more of any potential bacteria that could cause infection or transmit disease into the skin.
Kind of grosses you out, kind of, huh? Well, instead, he recommends using a tick remover or a pair of tweezers. We have a major update this week on one of Portland's biggest eyesores. The old Gordon's Fireplace building off I-84, you might recognize it, is finally getting a makeover. After years of neglect, one of Portland's most visible vacant buildings is getting new life. Crews started repainting the old Gordon's Fireplace building in Northeast Portland, which had become a magnet for graffiti. It is a welcome change for a business across the street.
I am so excited. And this has been an eyesore for years now, and we've been putting up with it. All the people living there and coming across here and doing damage to our building, and this is exciting.
The city of Portland paid $17 grand to clean up the graffiti after new owners took it over. The building sold at auction last fall for just over $500,000. The nonprofit Do Good Multnomah plans to build 26 to 30 units for homeless veterans. The project, either a renovation or a complete teardown, is at least 3 years away. Okay, what do you think about a new spot to hang out on Portland's waterfront? Well, the owner of the Portland Spirit appears to have a new business idea to bring a restaurant to Waterfront Park. Our Catherine Cook takes a look at what could be a boost for downtown.
Take in the view from Waterfront Park near Salmon Street Springs. Now, make it from an outdoor dining space here. Maybe drink in hand outside this building. Oh, and make it a restaurant. That's the vision suggested by paperwork filed with the city by Portland Spirit owner Dan Yates. The early assistance application notes the building's designation as a historic landmark. In 1947, the Portland Chamber of Commerce commissioned famed architect John Yeon to design the visitor center. In 2010, the city-owned building was renovated, then leased to the Rose Festival as its headquarters, which still uses the office. So far, no comment from the Rose Fest or Portland Parks and Rec, which oversees the building.
The Portland Spirit tells us they're just in the preliminary stages of this project, and it's too soon to talk details. They did share the building needs a lot of work. They're looking at doing close to $200,000 in repairs and renovations while maintaining the building's historical integrity.
This stretch of Waterfront Park is a hot spot for tourists, many of whom told us they were hoping to find a cold drink around here and a place to sit and enjoy it.
And then we saw this structure and I was like, oh, that looks like a place that we can get water. So we walked up here to find some water, and there was no water here. So the thought of there being something here that people could enjoy while they're looking at the river is just like, sounds really appealing to me.
I think it sounds great. It'd be nice to be able to stop in and get something to eat or drink while, enjoying the view out here. We spent basically an hour biking up and down, and there's not much to see besides old parks and broken down grass.
According to the filings, Yates aims to have a restaurant up and running here by spring of 2027. For now, it appears he has hope. Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Can't wait to see where the idea goes. Okay, Portland's Sunshine Division says they have seen a surge of families who need help, and now families have a new way of getting the help they need. The nonprofit just opened its new Northwest Portland headquarters this week. The centerpiece is a free grocery-style market where families can grab a cart and then shop for fresh produce, protein, and other pantry staples.
We talk to thousands of our families that we work with, and across the board, undeniably, people have said they want choice. They want to be able to select what's best for their family, whether that's for cultural reasons, religious reasons, dietary, whether you have children or don't, whether you're on a restrictive diet. Choice is better.
What a cool setup. The project was funded entirely by local donors. Bravo. Now, if you know someone or if you yourself need help putting food on the table, appointments are available online, and families can visit up to 12 times a year. And take a look at this. That hot air balloon that is just out of screen at this point, I think, Well, it made a surprise landing, there you see it, at a local lumber yard. The balloon was dropping in Newburgh when its crew called out for help, then dropped a rope to workers. Video shows them grabbing on and helping direct the balloon away from stacks of lumber and safely down to the ground. Fortunately, no one was hurt in all of this. Now here's a look at your weather.
We are weather impact alert. That's because we have a heat wave that is on the way. We're going to hit around 90 on our Saturday, but bumping into the mid to upper 90s on our Sunday and Monday. Those are the days that we're really keeping an eye out on. Now, once we couple that heat with the low humidity, add in some east winds, that equals a high fire danger. So definitely going to be a dangerous day to watch, not only for fire danger, but also because of heat illness and the potential to cause that. So make sure to stay hydrated. Taking a look right now, though, from our Wells Fargo Tower camera, very sunny out there for us, 55 degrees, sitting in the mid 50s in many spots, and we're going to hit 80 as our high today. But showing you that weather map in terms of temperatures, 61 out in the Dalles, 50 in Pendleton, looks like 49 in Salem, mid to upper 40s near the coast also. Our hour by hour forecast by 10 a.m. hitting 63 degrees, then we slowly stair step into the 70s by noon, so it's going to rapidly warm up throughout the day, and we're not going to have much in the way of cloud cover either. In Southwest Washington, a very similar setup, mid to upper 70s overall. Maybe won't hit 80 in Southwest Washington. 79 your high in Vancouver, 77 in Battleground. Looks like 78 for Longview as well. Good morning to you near the coast. Our Visit Seaside camera, a gorgeous view right now. And notice the cloud cover is hanging on, namely near the coast. But this is Futurecast. As we fast forward throughout the day, those coast clouds, those marine clouds start to burn off. And then we really are sunny from the coast to inland and all the way out through the gorge. So it's going to be very gorgeous for us on our Friday. Now, getting into the hot weather ahead that we are going to see, Saturday is really the warm up. Setting the scene, the atmosphere, getting ready to put things in the oven for our Sunday and our Monday, where we'll hit 95 and 98, which if we do hit both of those will be record breaking. Looking at Futurecast Saturday night into Sunday, we're not going to get that cool overnight. So that's something to keep in mind. You may not have that opportunity to cool off. That's why the National Weather Service is saying that the overnight hours could be just as dangerous also. Again, we are weather impact alert, looking at the watches and warnings in place. The extreme heat warning is in place for the Portland metro area. So think Oregon City, Hillsborough, Beaverton, but the surrounding regions under a heat advisory. And that lasts from Sunday at 11 a.m. until Tuesday as we get into the evening hours then. A quick look at your 7-day forecast. Notice we are going to hit 90 on our Saturday as we stair step from 80 today. Sunday and Monday, the days to watch.
Corey Johnson with that weather report, and that is a wrap on your weekly recap. I'm Christine Pitawanich. A reminder that you can catch up on the latest headlines anytime you want on KGW.com, your KGW app, or our YouTube channel.